Hello YouTube, LittleDerek.comics back again with another video, and today I am happy to introduce you to my first tutorial video. So what we're going to be covering today are three essential tools that you'll need to create digital artwork. And since this is a beginner-friendly video, I thought it fitting to choose none other than Microsoft Paint as the software that we'll be using to create the artwork today. Now you might be thinking to yourself, MS Paint, that old dated software, why would you use that? There's a lot more modern software that you could be utilizing. And that is true. However, I thought it fitting to use MS Paint because that is what I learned to get into digital art when I was younger. And I've had a lot of experience with it. And it's also just accessible to a wide number of people because as long as you have some form of access to a computer, that's not Apple, you can pretty much run MS Paint. I also find that the layout of everything is pretty easy to get a grasp on. And outside of all that, this is kind of the software that any other drawing software got its inspiration from for the most part. This is kind of one of the, forefathers of digital art programs. So I wanted to give it its props and I wanted to use it for this video. I probably won't use it again, but I thought it would be cool to use it for this video. So without further ado, we are going to get right into it. Now, show me paint. I mean the real paint. I said the real paint. All right, there we go. Okay, so now we are in Microsoft Paint, and what I'm basically trying to do with this video is to get you an introduction into digital art and have it so that you can kind of jump in and create something, right? So it doesn't really matter what model computer you have, whether you have a computer that was made yesterday or if you have a computer or whatever that was made 20 to 50 years ago. You have some form of paint on here, and the looks may vary, but essentially at the base level, the core level, you can do a lot of the same things, okay? So what we're going to start with is the pencil tool, right? And the pencil tool is the most simple, fundamental, basic tool you will have in any software. And it doesn't matter whether you're using Paint, whether you're using Clip Studio, Adobe Animate, Procreate, whatever, you will have a pencil tool or something comparable to a pencil tool. It might not say pencil tool, it might say a pen tool, it may even be a paintbrush tool, but essentially they all do the same thing. What the pencil tool basically allows you to do is you click on it, it'll be this right here, it'll look like a number 2 pencil, and you can just draw. You can draw whatever you want. And I'm not using my drawing tablet, right? I have a drawing tablet, but to encourage you all to that you don't need all this fancy tech or whatever, that you can just use the basic stuff. I'm not using a mouse. I'm not using, any special tech. I'm just using the little track surface pad or whatever that's on my laptop. Okay. So I'm using that and I'm getting the pencil tool and I'm just going and drawing, right? I'm gonna try to draw my persona from memory, right? So you have the pencil tool and you'll notice that the line is kind of thin. Say I don't want the line that thin. There should be some kind of little level thing, right? This right here, it says, like, you see how it's increasing the 10 px. This is basically pixels per inch, I guess. It's increasing the size of the pixel, right? This is a raster software. I know you probably don't know what that means, but it runs on pixels essentially. So you can make it larger, right? This is good for like line weight and everything. So I want my line weight to be a little bit thicker around the edges. So I'm just gonna make a little head. It's gonna be kind of circular. It's gonna be ugly. It's gonna be a little ugly because I'm using the little trackpad, and there's only so precise I can be, but I'm gonna try to get it as accurate or close as possible. So yeah, just draw whatever you want to though. Yeah, so I'm just going and free drawing it. I'm not really doing any sketches or anything. This is gonna be a very simple drawing. I just want y'all to get comfortable, drawing something in there. And I'm gonna have different line weight within it, so I'll bring it back down to 4 for like the finer, details like the hair in the middle or whatever. The curls are a little bit looser on this one. This is going to be a very stylized version of my character. But yeah, I'm probably just going to stop at the head too. So I want to keep this kind of short. So I'm going to do the eyes. Oh my gosh, this is funny. This is a funny version of my character. Again, just using basic things. I'm not doing anything too fancy or complicated. I'm going to give him a little light grin and some eyebrows, right? I'm going to intentionally leave that open, right? And I'm going to show y'all why later. But so we have a simple, version of my character. I guess, you know what? Let's go a little bit above. Let's go back to, what did I have it at, like 7 or something? I'm going to put it at 7. And I'm going to give him a little neck, right? And I'm going to start the kind of hoodie, but probably won't finish. Yeah, look, I look so great. I look great. Not to toot my own horn, I look great. But yeah, and I'll leave that open too, and I'll fix it later. One more thing. Let me add the beard. Let me add the beard, because I know it looks off. I don't have the beard. Yeah, and then I'll bring it up here. And I don't like, okay, so I will say there are a couple of things I want to change, right? So let's say you have the drawing, you're getting irritated because there's something you don't like. This will be a good segue into my next tool. I'll show you the eraser tool, right? So you click on the eraser tool, it looks like a classic pink eraser. I like the designs of these tools. Historically, these are always how they look. They just are a more modern version right now. But I don't like how the this part of the beard looks, so I can get this eraser tool and I can just go and start erasing, right? And just erase this and just go along. And voila, there's like a little pixels. And you'll essentially just go back to the pencil tool and kind of fill this in. I'm going to keep it simple. All right, so I'm going to go back down and shrink the pixel size, and I like that a bit better. Let me see if I can do this without messing up. I don't like that. I'm going to go, again, I'm going to go back to the eraser tool and, just erase. There was a little song I'd sing when I was little while I was erasing. I'm not going to do it now because that'll be really cringy, but I'm getting some nostalgia doing this. So, and there, I like that. I'm going to go the eraser tool one more time and just erase that. And I think that looks good. I think that looks really good. So, yeah, and before I go on to the next tool, I want to say, just imagine all of this area, this white square, as your canvas, right? This is essentially your sheet of paper, and you kind of are constrained to those lines. If you go outside of the lines, the pencil won't really show up, and if you kind of have to stop there. I just thought I'd mention that. So keep that in mind. This is your canvas. This is your digital workspace. It's just imagine this box as a giant sheet of paper. I just wanted to put that out there before we proceed, but now we'll get to our third and final tool, and this will help you with coloring, and this is the paint bucket tool. So the paint bucket tool is just that. It looks like a paint bucket. Now, this is the most atrocious paint bucket I've ever seen in this software. I really don't like it. I like these two, but I don't like how they stylized it on this one. But the paint bucket will usually look like a bucket. Again, it doesn't really matter the software you're using. It'll usually be like a bucket with maybe a drop of paint coming out of it, or maybe a little splash of paint. So we'll click that, and we're going to use the basic colors. We're not going to do anything too fancy. We're going to use the basic colors that it comes with, and I'm going to color my character. Now, I have like a darker jacket. I won't do that right now. I'm going to go with this brown, right? And so we're going to just pick the color from up here, and we're going to fill it in. So you click the paint bucket tool, go to the color you want, and just click in, right? Whatever space you want and fill it in, right? And I'm going in these certain areas specifically to show you something. So right there, you'll notice the eyebrow and the beard have now been filled in with the brown, and I don't want that, right? So let's try this. Let's go black. So let's fill in this eyebrow and let's fill in this beard. And see, now you'll see that the beard is the beard is now filled in with black, and we don't want that either. So why is it doing this, right? So I'm gonna undo. I'm gonna hit this undo button up top, and the shortcut to that is Control Z, by the way, but the undo, redo buttons up here. I can cover that in another video, but let's just go back and go to the pencil tool. So you'll see right here that this is not completely filled in. So when you have something that's not completely filled in, the computer just sees it as a gap, and you don't want that gap to be there. So it'll only fill in the closed area. If it's not a closed area, it won't fill. So keep that in mind. And so I'm gonna go ahead and cover this ear as well. So now the beard is closed and the eyebrow is closed. So now once we go to the paint bucket tool, we hit black or whatever, we'll fill in that beard, we'll fill in the hair, and we'll fill in that eyebrow, right? And we're gonna fill in these eyes. Okay, now we're getting somewhere. And lastly, we're going to go to this. Now that we know that we have to close the gaps, we'll go to the pencil tool again. I'm gonna thicken this a little bit, just refer. And this might look different again depending on the version you're using or the software you're using, but there'll usually be something to where you can increase the line weight. So we're going to just come up through here, and I'm gonna pick a dark blue for my jacket, hit the fill bucket again, and you see there's like a shortcut for this. You can hit B. So say I'm on the pencil tool, I can hit B. I'm on this, I can hit P for the pencil tool, and I want to say I could hit E for the eraser tool. You see how it just changes, so that can speed up your workflow. So I'm on the eraser tool now. I can hit B for the bucket. It'll be different depending on the software as well, but yeah, that's an easy way to increase your productivity. You don't have to constantly go back and forth. But yeah, so now I got that filled in, and that is basically a simplified version of my persona. And again, I'm doing this all just with the normal tools. I'm doing this with the trackpad on my laptop, and I'm using this with the most accessible software known to man, essentially. So it doesn't matter whether you're using Autodesk, whether you're using Clip Studio, Photoshop. These three essential tools will usually be at your disposal. So we've created a simple drawing. There's nothing too complex about it, and I've shown you how to use the simple tools. And, if you wanted some fine detail, let's even go a step further. I can click the pencil tool, go back to brown, and I can even color with the pencil tool. I can give myself a few, highlights along the hair, maybe along the beard, and say I can even color with white. I can kind of give myself a little, reflection in my eyes. And I can kind of lighten it up. I can pick this shade of blue, lighten up the hoodie a bit. It just really depends on the style you're going for. So, and now I'm just going to finish it off. I'm going to put my signature. It's going to be really weird to draw my signature on here. Well, no. Okay, yeah. All right, and we're going to come down. And there we go. So now we have a nice piece of artwork. I think it looks really good. And so once you're done with that, you're gonna want to save, right? You don't want to lose the work you just created. So we're gonna go to File. You can go to Save. If you haven't saved already, then save and save as will essentially be the same thing. So that is pretty much the tutorial. Like I said, I just wanted to give you guys an introduction into digital art. I know a lot of people are intimidated, especially by digital software. When you look in, there could be a lot of things that you are kind of unfamiliar with. It could be a lot to take in at first. So I just wanted to give you a simple breakdown and help you get into digital art. And this was made with the assumption that whoever's watching has never touched it in their life and they don't know what they're doing at all. It's really ground zero. With that being said, we have reached the end of this video, but hey, before you leave, make sure you like if you enjoyed the video and subscribe for more if you want to see more complicated tutorials and more content dealing with digital art or just art in general. Go ahead and subscribe. And if you know anybody that is trying to get into art, especially digital art, share this video with them. I'm trying to grow a community, so please share the video. And let me know how I did. Let me know in the comments below. Did I help you out? Did I cover a lot of bases? Is there anything that you were confused about? Let me know. Let me know in the comments how I did. But with all that being said, we have reached the end of this video. Thanks for watching, and I hope you all have a great weekend, and I'll see you next week. Bye.